Okay. Good evening to one and all. Now I'll start the session. Okay. Okay. So up to now, we have covered AWS EC2 service, whatever it is providing the features in EC2. I have to explain around 13 hours. I have to explain, and also I have covered the service AWS S3, AWS identity and access management, and also I have covered AWS command line interface. I'll start another new service, that is AWS Virtual Private Cloud. In this session, I had to start AWS Virtual Private Cloud. In this session, we are going to discuss how we have to create your VPC, Virtual Private Cloud, and creation of subnets, creation of internet gateways, creation of routing table, and also I explain in this session, that is launch the web server using public subnet, and also launch the database server using private subnet. Those concepts one by one in this session we had to cover. First, we had to cover how we had to create your own virtual private cloud. For that, what are the steps we had to follow? Already I shared PPTs to your drive, that is virtual private cloud. See that? That is the virtual private cloud is a dedicated to your AWS account. It's a logical isolated from other virtual networks in the AWS cloud. That is, you can launch your AWS resources such as EC2 instance to your virtual private cloud. There is no additional charges for creating and using Amazon virtual private cloud. See, look at this diagram here. In this diagram, this is AWS. It has to covered throughout worldwide. This is the Amazon Web Services here in this first border. I am showing the red color also. The second, it indicates AWS has different regions are there, different availability data centers are there throughout the India. That is, if we are consider the Mumbai region, if we are consider the Mumbai region, let us assume that the Mumbai region is one room. On the Mumbai region data center in one room, you have allocate some space. That is nothing but the virtual private cloud. On that space, you are launching EC2 services. We have to use the EC2 service, or you may use some other servers. We have to launch it on your own private cloud. How we have to follow? What are the steps we have to follow for creating virtual private cloud? Those are the benefits are there by using virtual private cloud. One is easy to use and set up. Second, it is you are using your own virtual private cloud. It is providing the security. and it is providing the scalability and reliability feature. You know well the terminology, what is the scalability and what is the reliability. And the features of the virtual private cloud is the VPC allows the user to select IP address range. You had to create subnets and configure routing tables, network gateways, security settings using this virtual private cloud is possible. Virtual private cloud, it allows VPC peering. I'll tell you in detail. In practical also I had to explain the virtual private cloud peering. The VPC peering connection with other VPC within the same or different accounts, we can establish the peering connection, and we can resize the virtual private cloud. Maximum the virtual private cloud is 5 per region. We can increase this limit that you can have hundreds of VPCs per region also. That's also possible. And also we can create 200 subnets. I'll tell you later what is the subnet. 200 subnet in one VPC. One VPC. I'll tell you. Next, what are the steps we have to follow? That is, before we have to follow the steps, virtual private cloud needs a set of IP address in the form of classless inter-domain routing. In the short format, it is abbreviated as CIDR, classless inter-domain routing. For example, which is represent CIDR 172.16.0.0/16. What it includes is all addresses from the range 172.16.0.0 to 172.16.255.255. Total, it has 65,536 addresses are there. There's 16/16, which represent the net mask or subnet, which is represented. The IPv4, we are representing the IP addresses in IPv4 and IPv6. Most of them are using IPv4 only. They are not using now, up to now, the IPv6. Only few of them are using the IPv6. The IPv4 is a 32-bit. So /16 means 32 minus 16 means 16. 16. 16. See that? 16. Right? So we have 2 power 16 is nothing but we have 2 power 16. That is nothing but 65,536. How? That is 2 into, that is 4. Next, 2 into 4, 8. Next, 2 into 6, that is 12. Like that. This is 2 power 1, 2 square, 2 power 3, up to and so on 2 power 16 is 65,536 IP addresses you are creating. That is the meaning of 2 power 16. 65,536 IP addresses. Similarly, for /28, that is, we have to subtract 32 minus 28. That is 4. 2 power 4 is 16. 2 into 2 into 2, that is 16 IP addresses. Block size must between a /16 net mask and /28 net mask. This is the minimum size. /28. 16 IP address is the minimum size. /28, 16 IP addresses are allocated. /16, if we are given the IPv4 /16, 65,536 IP addresses. The last 2 digits, we see that these two we have use 0.0. You have to more about the IP address for classless interdomain routing. We'll see that the example in this site we have to follow. That is, I am given the example 10.0.0.0/24 I am given. How many IP addresses we have to assign? You can calculate it. Click on calculate. Those many 256 IP addresses are allocating. For example, if we are using /16, how many IP addresses we can assign? See that 65,536. /28, how many IP addresses we can assign? That is 16 IP addresses we can assign. That's why I am saying that the AWS is supporting the minimum size is 16 IP addresses we can assign. That is /28, IPv4/28. Maximum size IPv4/16. That is 2 power 16 is 65,536 IP addresses we can assign. That is how many quotas for the VPC quotas. We can click on this link. Already I told that per region default is 5. If you want to increase that, we can also increase it up to 1,000. That's I can mention here in the website also it is mentioned. Already I mentioned the website link also. You can increase this limit so that we can have hundreds of VPCs per region. The more detailed information which is provided in this link. If you want to calculate the IP addresses /16, how many IP addresses we can assign? /28, how many IP addresses we can assign? /25, if we are given, how many IP addresses we can assign? For calculation purpose, I am given the website link. That is classless interdomain routing. Okay. Now, what are the steps we have to follow for creating your own VPC? First, we can sign into your AWS account. Okay, sign into your AWS account. Enter the password. Sign in. Okay. Now, in the search box or in services, we can choose the virtual private cloud. We can see here, or in the search box, we can type it VPC, virtual private cloud. This we have to select it. Here on left side, under virtual private cloud, your VPCs are there. Click on this. Now, this is the default IPv4 CADR /16 with the IP address 172.31.0.0/16 means 65,536 IP addresses we can assign with that one. This is the default virtual private cloud. Up to now, to launch your Linux server, to launch your Windows server, you are using in network settings the default VPC you are using. Now, we have to create your own VPC, your own virtual private cloud we have to create. For that, we can search it on the search box, virtual private cloud. And on left side, under the virtual private cloud, we have to choose your VPCs. Click on create VPC. You can choose the option anyone, VPC only or VPC and more only. If you are click on the VPC and more, you can choose the subnet and the routing table and the internet gateways. Many more things we can choose it at this time. Now, I had to explain one by one. That's why I am choosing virtual private cloud only. I have to give the name. I'm given the VPC name is VCE. I am given VCE VPC. Vardhaman College of Engineering, virtual private cloud I am given. Copy and paste it. This I am given the VPC name. Scroll down. The IPv4 I am ranging 28.0.0.0.0.3 zeros are there. /16 I am given. This is the IP address. Net mask I am given /28 /16 I am given. /16 means 65,536. 65,536 IP addresses we can assign with this IP range. With this one. Okay. Scroll down. Click on create VPC. That's you are created your own VPC with the name VCE VPC. See that IPv4 CIDR 28.0.0.0 net masking /16 you are given. Means the IP addresses we can assign 2 power 16. Means 65,536 IP addresses we can assign. See that this is not a default virtual private cloud. See the option. This is below one is default virtual private cloud. S option is there. You are created your own VPC. The name is VCE VPC I am given. For this VPC default, no option is there. That's your created virtual private cloud. Those are the steps we had to follow for creating the virtual private cloud. Okay. Now we go to the another concept, that is how we had to create the subnets. How we had to create the subnets. First, what is subnet? That is, see here in this slide, I had to explain. Here, this is the AWS first dotted lines which is representing. I am moving the red mark, ball I am moving. These are the AWS region, second dotted lines which are representing. If we are chosen the Mumbai region, under the Mumbai region, you are creating your own virtual private cloud with the address 28.0.0.0/16 you are given. Means 65,536 IP addresses we can assign. Under that, that's I have mentioned VPC also. 28.0.0.0/16. Under that, we are creating the two subnets. That is, I am given one public subnet I am given. That is 28.0.1 first subnet. Dot this you don't give the number /24 I am given. And this is the another subnet I am given. That's why 28.0.2.0/24 means the subnet is nothing but what? This is your virtual private cloud. You are dividing the segmentation of Amazon VPC IP address range where you can launch Amazon EC2 instances. For example, if you want to launch the web server, we can choose the subnet, public subnet we can choose it. To launch database servers, we can use private subnet. For that, I have to segment the two segments, two subnets I am creating. Public subnet, private subnet I am creating. So the AWS reserves 5 IP addresses. First 4 and last one in each subnet. These 5 IP addresses are not available for use. and cannot be assigned to an EC2 instance. For example, if your VPC has CIDR, that is 28.0.0.0/16, one of your subnet, you may have CIDR with the range 28.0.1.0/24. Means this range has to cover 28.0.1.02 up to 255. 255. 0 to 255 is nothing but the 256 IP addresses. Out of the 256 IP addresses, first four addresses. First four addresses I can explain with this IP address only. 192.168.100.02, 192.168.100.3 means dot 0, dot 1, dot 2, dot 3. The first four IP addresses and the last IP address. 192.168.100.255. Those are reserved. AWS reserve 5 IP addresses, first four and last one. First IP address 192.168.100.0. This is for network address. 192.168.100.1 reserved by AWS for VPC router. 192.168.100.2 reserved by AWS for mapping to AWS provided DNS. Next, 192.168.100.3 for future usage. The last IP address 192.168.100.255 network broadcasting address purpose we are using. Those 5 IP addresses are reserved in AWS. The first 4 IP address and the last IP address in each subnet, those 5 IP addresses are reserved. Now, coming to the another one. Already I told that the subnet types private subnet, public subnet. The private subnet example I am saying database server. Public subnet is web server. I am saying the example. How to create the subnets? Now I go for this one. Under the virtual private cloud on the left side, we can choose subnets. See that in Mumbai region, the availability zones which are representing AP South 1A, AP South 1B, AP South 1C, which is representing. Now, I want to create the subnets. We had to choose on left side. Under virtual private cloud, we can choose the subnet. We can click on create subnet. Here, we can select a virtual private cloud. That is whatever you are creating your own virtual private cloud. That virtual private cloud, we can choose it. This I am creating. VCE, VPC I am creating. Scroll down. Now I am given the subnet name, public subnet. This I copy it. Okay. Now in this /24 I am given. /24 means how many IP addresses are assigned? That is 256. Out of 256 IP addresses on the subnet, 5 IP addresses are reserved. See that? I am given the IP address range 28.0.1.0/24. This I am given. First subnet, further the second digit I am given 1. Last one is 0. That's the system can be assigned. That is how many IP addresses are assigned? 256. Out of those, the 5 are reserved in AWS. First 4 and the last one. Okay. Now, scroll down. Click on create subnet. Now, I want to create the another subnet Click on create subnet. Select your VPC. Scroll down. I am given the subnet name. Private subnet I am given. Copy and paste it. Okay. We have to choose the availability zone. Wait. Uh, Whatever I am creating, the public subnet, I can delete this one. Select it. Actions. Delete subnet. We can type it delete. Click on delete. The subnet is deleted. What are the steps we have to follow to create the subnet? Click on create subnet. We have to select your virtual private cloud. I am selecting VCE VPC. Scroll down. The subnet name I am given, public subnet availability zone in the Mumbai region. Those are availability zones are there. AP South 1A, AP South 1B, AP South 1C. You are chosen AP South 1C. On that availability zone, T2.micro instance is not there. That's why you don't choose AP South 1C. You can choose the availability zones AP South 1A or AP South 1B. I am chosen for public subnet AP South 1A I am chosen. IPv4 CIDR I am given. Whatever I am given the virtual private cloud 28.0.1, the first subnet, .0/24 I am given. Scroll down, click on create subnet. Your subnet is created. Similarly, we have to create the another subnet. Click on create subnet. Choose your virtual private cloud. I have to give the subnet name, private subnet. You can choose the availability zone. We have to choose 1A already I am selecting for public subnet. We can choose the another availability zone, that is AP South 1B. If you are chosen AP South 1C, T2.micro instance is not there in AP South 1C. That's why I am not chosen the AP South 1C. I can choose for private subnet AP South 1B I am chosen. Scroll down. IPv4 CIDR block. Here 28.0. The second subnet 2 I am given .0/24. Scroll down. Click on create subnet. Okay. Now see that click on subnets. How many subnets are there? Two subnets are there, public and the private. How many IP addresses we can assign with that subnet? With that subnet /24 you are given, means 256 IP addresses we can assign. Out of 256 IP addresses, AWS is reserved 5 IP addresses, first 4 and the last IP address, means 256 minus 5. How many IP addresses we can assign? 251. That's there or not? See that. On public subnet, move slowly. This, what the number is given? Available IPv4, 251. See here. On public subnet, you are chosen private subnet. Select this. Move here. How many available IPv4 addresses are there? 251. Means AWS reserve 5 IP addresses, first 4 and last one. First one for network address, second IP address for reserved by AWS for VPC router, third one reserved by AWS for mapping to AWS provided DNS, fourth one for future usage purpose, and the fifth last one network broadcast address purpose they are using. They can reserve the AWS 5 IP addresses. Okay. Now, those are the steps we had to follow for creating the subnets. I am creating virtual private cloud. I am creating the subnets. Now, the next, how we had to create the internet gateways. Creation of internet gateways. Okay. Before that, I am creating how many subnets I am creating? Two subnets I am creating with the name public subnet and the private subnet I am creating. Public and the private subnet I am creating. Now, now that is we can choose the public subnet here. We can select the public subnet. Wait, what's happened? Public subnet, we can select it. Go for actions. Select edit subnet settings. Select this. Here, auto assign IP settings. Put the tick mark. Enable auto assign public IPv4. Put the tick mark. Okay. Scroll down. No need to put the remaining. Click on save option. Now, we see that public subnet. We see that public subnet. Auto assign public IPv4. For public subnet, it is yes option is there. Auto assign for this one. Yes option is there. Now, we go for private. This is for public subnet. See that public subnet. Auto assign public IPv4. Yes option is there. This one. We can choose the private subnet. First one. Move here. Auto assign public IPv4. No option is there. I'll put the tick mark for auto assign public IPv4 in public subnet. I'll put the tick mark. That's why here the S option is showing. S option is showing. Okay, fine. Now, for creation of the internet gateways, what are the steps we had to follow? That is, in this diagram, we'll look at this. We'll look at this diagram. Here, this is the AWS. The second dotted lines, which are representing the AWS region, that's I am selecting the Mumbai region. Now, under the Mumbai region, I am creating the virtual private cloud. Under the virtual private cloud, I am creating the two subnets, public subnet and the private subnet I am creating. Okay. Now, internet gateway, it allows the communication between your created virtual private cloud and the internet. For that, we are using the internet gateway is used. Are you understand? Internet gateway, it allows communication between your virtual private cloud, your created virtual private cloud and the internet. For that, you are using internet gateways we are using. How we had to create the internet gateways? What are the steps we had to follow? That is, had to open that Under virtual private cloud, internet gateways option is there. Click on that. Click on create internet gateway. I am given the name, the internet gateway name I am given, that is VCE internet gateway I am given. Scroll down. Okay. Click on create internet gateway. The internet gateway is created with the name VCE internet gateway. See that? What is the state which is represented for this internet gateway? Detached. Detached. Just creating the internet gateway, our work is not over. Not we need to attach the internet gateway to our virtual private cloud. For that, we can select the internet gateway. Okay. Go for actions. Attach VPC. Click on attach VPC. Now we can select whatever you are created, the virtual private cloud. That virtual private cloud we can create, we can select it. You are created the VCE virtual private cloud. That's we can select it. Click on attach internet gateway. Now you check it. Internet gateway. The state is attached. For your internet gateway, VCE internet gateway, the state is attached. Those are the steps we had to follow. We had to follow that the internet gateway also I am selecting, but that the relevant PPTs also I am providing. Okay. Now the another one is in the AWS, that is in the last line. See that in AWS, in the Mumbai region, you are created the virtual private cloud. Under the virtual private cloud, you are creating the two subnets, public subnet, private subnet you are creating. With the internet gateway, the communication is established between the virtual private cloud and the internet. Now, there is no connection from your virtual private cloud to the subnet. Observe that. To communicate, to interact with your VPC to the subnet, you need the root table is required. That is, the root table defines rules termed as termed as routes which determine where network traffic from the subnet would be routed. This subnet or this private subnet. For that, we are creating the routing table we had to create. Routing table we had to create. For that, what are the steps we had to follow? What are the steps we had to follow? Open your AWS account. Under the virtual private cloud on left side, under the virtual private cloud, we can click on the route table. Here, click on create route table. Given the route table name, I am given the route table name VCE route table I am given. You can select your virtual private cloud. That's I am creating the virtual private cloud is VCE VPC I am created. Scroll down, click on create route table. The route table is created with the name the VCE route table. VCE route table. Now with this route table, we can attach the subnet. We can attach the subnet. How we can attach the subnet? I want to attach the public subnet. That is 28.0.1.0/24. I want to attach that subnet. How we can attach? with this root table. We can select the root table, go for actions. Here, edit subnet associations option is there. Click on that. Here we can choose which subnet you want to choose, public subnet or private subnet. We can choose the public subnet. Click on Save Associations. Okay. Now we can attach the root table with internet gateways. How we can attach? Up to now, I am not attaching the internet gateway for this root table. I am creating the root table. I can assign the public subnet. I am not attaching with the internet gateway. How we can attach? We can select the root table, go for actions, choose the option edit roots. Here we see that add root option is there. Click on that. Here we can choose anywhere. That is, target is our internet gateway and the destination is the IP address. That is 0.0.0.0/0 we can select it. We can choose the target destination. We can choose, I am choosing destination, the internet gateway. We can select this one. This is VC internet gateway. That's we can select it. I'm attaching the internet gateway. Click on save changes. Okay. Whatever I am creating, the root table, for that I am assigning public subnet and also I am attaching the internet gateway. I'm attaching the internet gateway. Okay, fine. I am creating the your I am creating the virtual private cloud. I am creating the subnet. I am creating the internet gateway. I am creating the routing table. Now, I want to launch the web server using public subnet and also launch the database server using private subnet. Database server using private subnet. First, I have to launch the web server using public subnet, and then I am launching the database server using private subnet. This I have. Okay. Now, I have to search on search box EC2. Click on that. Now I am launching the instance. Is there any instances are running? Check the EC2 dashboard. No. One key pair name is there. Okay, that's no problem. I want to launch the instance. Select launch instances. I am given the name web server. BCE web server. This is I am given. Copy and paste it. I'm choosing the Amazon mission image. That is the free trial eligible one. I can choose it. The T2.micro I am chosen. I can create the key pair name. Click on create key pair. I am given the key pair name BCE web server. Now this time we can choose only PEM format. I'll tell you the reason later. You don't choose .ppk format. we can download the PEM file format only. I'll tell you the reason. Click on create key pair. Okay, scroll down. In network settings, edit option, we can choose it. Here, default VPC is there. I want to launch the Linux server in my virtual private cloud. We can choose the virtual private cloud. In earlier, to launch the instances, you are chosen the default, but the company has to use their virtual private cloud. That's why we can choose your created virtual private cloud. Scroll down, choose the subnet, public subnet or the private subnet. I am launching the web server. You can launch the web servers under the public subnet. To launch the database server and the connectivity, we can use the private subnet. So that which subnet we can choose? The public subnet. I am enabling in public subnet auto assign public IP. Clear? And I can give the security name DCE web server security group. This I copy and paste it in description. Scroll down. I can add the security group rule, that is HTTP I am adding. Source type is anywhere. Okay. Scroll down. I'm not adding any additional storage, but I am adding the script. Click on advanced details. We can paste the script. This is the script I mentioned in PPT. It is bootstrap script is there. Already I am given that is in web servers also. You copy and paste it. Click on launch instance. Okay. Similarly, I want to launch the another instance. Select launch instances. Give the name VCE database server. The name I am given. Scroll down. I am chosen the Amazon mission image, free tier eligible one. Scroll down. T2.micro I am chosen. Key pair also we can create with the PEM format only. I'll tell you the reason. Click on create key pair. Key pair name VCE database server. Click on create key pair. Network settings edit option is there. You can choose your virtual private cloud. Select your virtual private cloud, VCE VPC. Choose the subnet, that is private subnet. Okay. Now we can choose the subnet, private subnet you are chosen. Here, in this private subnet, we can give the name. The name I am given VCE security group name, database server security group. Copy and paste it. Okay. Scroll down. Here, We can choose the type, scroll down, MySQL or Aurora type, we can choose it. Here, source is custom, we can choose it. Here, we can choose 28.0.1.0/24. We can choose. We can choose. Scroll down. Scroll down. What I am given? I am choosing the Amazon mission image, not the Microsoft. We're choosing the AMI is my AMI. Okay. This is AMI image, freestyle eligible one. We can choose. Scroll down. T2.micro. Key pair VCE database server key. Your virtual private cloud you are chosen, private subnet, and auto assign public IP is disabled. I am creating the name is what's that? That no there. I can create the name is VCE database server security group. Change, copy and paste it in description. Scroll down. Here the type we are chosen. Which type we are chosen? MySQL or Aurora. Custom we can choose. Here the address we are chosen 28.0.1.0/24. We can choose it. The CIDR block. Scroll down. Scroll down. Click on launch instance. Okay. Go for instances. Okay. Wait for a few minutes. The database server is in pending status. Now, select the web server. You copy the private IPv4. See that web server. What is the range it is given? Whatever I am choosing the subnet range 28.0.1. One is public subnet. With the range that is up to 255. Last one is reserved. 230 it is indicating. 230 it is indicating. Right? Within our range or not? The private IPv4. For VC web server. In which subnet you are chosen? Public subnet. Come to database server. This is private IPv4. See that? This is also within the range or not? In private subnet range or not? 28.0.2.18. That is in private subnet range. The IP address is assigned. Now, what is the difference we observe in database server and the web server? What the difference you observe? In database server, there is no public IPv4 is there. See that? See that? In web server, the database is there. See that? Public IPv4 address is there. In database server, there is no public IPv4 is there. Because of in database server, we are storing the data. If you are given the public IP address in publicly, then others are easily hacking. Then how can you connect the database server? That's we are discussed in the next session. Whatever I explain the same concepts, I can repeat in the next day within 5 minutes only. Then I can use the another concept Bayesian server I am using. Right? Any queries? Raise your hand.